we have a lot of very interesting legislative proposals or actual legislations that have just come out. For example, we have the Nature Restoration Regulation, we have the Water Resilience Strategy. So there is a framework and there is a political will to solve some of these issues. Once we have this framework, that's where the challenges come in. So the main challenge, I would say, is that we have a shift in political priorities at the moment. The environment is losing priority in the agenda of many of our political cycles, and we are suffering a wave of deregulation, of defunding, and of less ambitious implementation that is very disappointing, because right now is when we should be pushing up the ambition.
I learned a lot, but one of the, let's say, challenges that became really clear to me on this workshop is that some of the very successful funding sources of restoration, Life Plus for example, and also the second pillar of the common agricultural policy, they are under threat. And it is very important that we as scientists and the whole community of practice dealing with restoration insists that these funding sources will continue to exist, because there are so many good examples of Life Plus projects, etc., that it would be a great pity if they would not persist.
I personally am very excited to see what comes out of this initiative. The reason that I think this is because we have used collaborations like this in the past. So just to give an example, in pushing for barrier removal at an European Union level, at Wetlands International Europe, we decided to conduct a legal briefing on an understanding of how to interpret this article in the nature restoration law. I didn't want, however, that my legal interpretation would go against what a scientist would understand. So then I checked in with some members of the BioAgora, some people who are actually at this conference, to double check that my work was actually in line with the most recent and best scientific articles and developments available.
So in general terms, I think it is very important to build platforms and to maintain these platforms. So currently we have probably too many platforms of individual projects, and BioAgora has a good chance to bring different sources of evidence together. And it is important that stakeholders and policymakers and the restoration community, the community of practice for restoration, that they have, well, a good evidence of how restoration benefits biodiversity, but also on the side benefits. For example, in terms of flood protection or carbon sequestration. And this will be a good chance for BioAgora to build this evidence.